promised myself I wasn't going to cry. What'd you do with your wastebasket?
Over there.
I never used to miss. How many more minutes do we have?
43.
Oh. Peter left another message for me at the office today. Why should I talk to him? It's over.
You sure it's over?
Yes.
Then why do you think he's still calling?
I don't know. Ask his shrink. All I know is I said what I had to say. That's it. He can call me every day for the next 10 years. I wouldn't return his call. He wants to talk, let him talk to his wife.
So that's it. If you don't hear from him tomorrow, you won't be upset?
No, it's what I want.
And if you never hear from him again?
Be perfectly fine. But Peter's not the kind of man to take no for an answer. What? Well, it's not like I'm waiting for his phone call or anything. They mean nothing to me. I can't stop him from calling. What do you want me to do, change my phone number? Call him back and in no uncertain terms tell him never to call me again?
Some people might think that's a good idea.
So what do you say? By not returning his calls, I'm encouraging him? That's ridiculous. As long as Peter's married, I don't want anything to do with him.
You think he's going to leave his wife?
I haven't thought about it. All right, I have thought about it, but it's not going to happen. And even if it did happen, I'd have to think about it. Did you know that according to scientific studies, 50% of married women are having affairs? But you ever hear about the men they're having the affairs with? Do they go through this kind of pain? They sit around and wait for the phone to ring? They spend hours talking to their psychiatrist about it? Did you know that the song I Enjoy Being a Girl was written by a man?
Living in time and feeling every moment. Do I walk into tomorrow and never look behind? In a perfect world, everyone's dreams would all come true. What will the future hold? I wonder, what will the future hold? How will it all unfold? I wish I knew. Ooh, I wish I knew.
Mary, is that what your friend's calling?
My friends call me Cricket.
Oh, Cricket.
Hold up. You ain't my friend.
Well, I don't see anyone else here.
You ain't my friend. You ain't even a real lawyer.
Look, you're facing a charge of attempted murder. That is provided Mrs. Becerra lives. Now, 16 years old or not, the DA wants to try you as an adult. So if we don't play this thing right, you're going to be spending the rest of your wonder years behind bars. Now, since I'm the only lawyer you've got, why don't you tell me about your fight with Mrs. Becerra?
Yo, that bean-eating heifer tried to cheat me. She charged me $1.50 for a bag of chips when I could see right there on the sign that it wasn't but $1.39. She said that was yesterday. They were on sale yesterday.
So you didn't buy the chips, but you did go back later with a couple of your friends and shot her for the 11 cents?
Now, who's that stupid?
Well, your grandmother's blue Chevy was ID'd as the vehicle used in the drive-by shooting.
Maybe you ought to talk to my grandmother.
Well, according to an eyewitness, there were 4 females in the car. You matched the description of the driver.
They gotta prove that, don't they?
Well, there are 4 possibilities. You were either driving the car, riding in the car, shooting out of the car, or you weren't in the car at all. So which one is it? Have you spent any time in a detention camp?
I ain't scared of no camp. And if you're trying to threaten me, it ain't gonna work.
Her whole family's in the Justice System Hall of Fame. Mama's a crackhead, and the brother's serving time for armed robbery.
And Papa was a Rolling Stone.
You got it. I'll tell you, the kid's no amateur. She was a little homie at the age of 8, and a junior member of the Rocking 50s at the age of 12. What are having a sweet 16 and hanging out in malt shops?
It's the ghetto, Rosie. Out of sight, out of mind. We all wish it would go away, but we sure as hell don't want to use our taxes to pay for the cleanup job.
I'll tell you what's scary. Girls are getting worse than the boys.
You think just because they're female, they're exempt from the demoralization of the ghetto? Women's liberation, Rosie.
I'm against it.
No kidding.
The DA wants to try cricket as an adult.
Hard crime, hard time.
Another enlightened idea.
Mitchell, after you spent 35 years on the streets dealing with some of these animals, I'll be glad to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, well, I've already spent 35 years on that street, Kovac. I grew up there, and those animals are human beings.
Human. I saw a 14-year-old blow away a 10-year-old because he was wearing the wrong color shoelaces. You think he can be rehabilitated? And by the way, who the hell cares? Why should he have a second chance?
Well, maybe because you haven't had a chance in the first place.
Mitchell, when are you going to stop broadcasting on the same old station?
Listen, oldies but goodies, Kovac. Don't you forget it.
You lose your heart?
What?
Your necklace.
Yeah, lost my heart.
Oh, Rosie, you have 3 messages. Your mother, Kim,
Rosie,
and...
can I see you for a minute, please?
Ben, I just got here.
Yeah, well, I have a new case for you.
Well, do we have to discuss it right this minute?
Yes, we do.
What is it?
Indecent exposure.
Well, come here.
What do you do misdemeanors?
Well, I think you might want to handle this one, Rosie.
Why? Who am I representing? Ben?
Would you like to step into my office for a minute, please?
Ben, who am I representing?
Horace Binghamton.
Judge Binghamton?
One and only.
When nature calls, Miss O'Neill, even a judge must respond.
Of course, we understand that. And this is a very delicate situation, Your Honor.
Oh, delicate situation, my ass. It was an invasion of privacy, pure and simple. That woman was spying on me.
Well, Your Honor, you were urinating in a public alley.
What else was I supposed to do? The line to the facilities was backed up all the way to the bar.
Well, couldn't you have waited?
Miss O'Neill, would I have subjected myself to the indignity of relieving myself in a filthy alley if I could have waited? I am a 65-year-old man with a prostate the size of Houston. It controls me. I do not control it. Couldn't you get on with this, please?
Just calm down. I've read the preliminary police report, but Rosie hasn't. The fact that the facilities were in a strip joint doesn't help the case.
A strip joint?
Yeah, the kitty corner on Western Avenue.
It was a bachelor party. I find them despicable. However, it was an old family friend. I felt obligated.
The suspect was observed standing in front of the witness's open window, his left hand wrapped... So, according to the arrest report, you've been charged with loitering in a public alley to solicit a lewd act, indecent exposure, lewd and lascivious behavior, attempted residential burglary, and possession of a burglarious implement?
My Swiss Army knife.
Well, this report is pretty explicit, Your Honor, but it doesn't say anything about you relieving yourself.
I am sure that you find this very amusing, Miss O'Neill, but I was not masturbating in a public place. My integrity as a jurist is on the line here. If I am found guilty, I will probably be kicked off the bench.
Your Honor, I'm aware of the stakes. What I can't figure out is what I'm doing here. Now, you have never given me the impression that I was your favorite defense attorney.
You are adequate, and you are a woman. I think that a jury will be very sympathetic with that. Besides, having a public defender represent me is a political statement. If you are good enough for a judge, you are certainly good enough for indigent clients. Or do you have a problem with that?
No, I guess not.
Fine. I am going to take a short leave of absence until this matter is resolved. You can reach me at home. And now, if you will both excuse me.
How does he qualify for public defender?
Well, the good judge is having some bankruptcy problems, some junk bonds, and a very bad divorce. Now, Rosie, please, I can't force this case on you. It's your call.
Well, for the sake of any of my clients who will ever have to appear in front of him, what choice do I have?
Well, this is one day that I am glad I'm behind the desk.
Funny, I never noticed that Binghamton was left-handed. Special delivery from Grace.
Mom sent me something all the way from Paris?
Yeah, she's only 2 months past Christmas. I'm so hungry. What are we having for dinner?
Oh, actually, I'm not eating dinner tonight. She had some frozen yogurt for lunch. Nina lost 10 pounds on this rice diet. You should see how skinny she looks. The guys can't keep their eyes on her.
But, Kim, you have to have a little protein.
I ate protein yesterday, Rosie.
Doesn't Nina's mother worry about her dieting all the time?
No, now they can wear the same size and she can borrow all Nina's clothes. Anyway, since Nina lost all this weight, she got a boyfriend. He goes to UCLA.
He's in college?
Yeah. We met him at a frat party. Oh, my God. This is so sweet. Wait till Nina sees me in this. She is just gonna freak.
Some dress. Since when did you start going to frat parties?
Oh, on weekends, Dad lets me go. You know, I didn't know what I was going to wear to this frat party on Thursday night, but this is so perfect.
Thursday is a school night.
No, it's not. See, there's this teacher's conference on Friday, and we have the day off. Dad said it was okay. I'm going to go try this on, okay? I'll see you later.
Are you sure it's okay with your father?
Yeah, Rosie, don't worry. I won't let anybody date rape me.
That's not funny, Kim.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a regular Girl Scout, all right.
What's the status of Mrs. Becerra's condition?
Stable. Her husband's got a brand new 357 stashed behind the counter.
Let's hope for his wife's sake he doesn't use it.
There are a lot of people in the neighborhood who want to finish what Cricket started.
Allegedly started.
This area used to be mostly black. Now it's 50% Latino. A lot of the blacks feel that the Becerras are overcharging them.
Are they?
Yeah. But they're the only market in the neighborhood. They charge for the convenience. The big chains moved out in the 60s. It ain't exactly Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
It's the history of the inner city, Kovac. Mm-hmm. One group moves in, crowds out another, but the first group doesn't have anywhere else to go, so it's a fight for survival. Nobody wins.
Great place to raise a family.
Yeah, well, some people don't have a choice.
Well, who says they have to live in L.A. anyway?
Oh, yeah, especially when it'd be so easy to set up internment camps.
Gentlemen, if you don't mind, I have work to do. I have to see if the DA's in a dealing mood.
No way. No freaking way.
Sit down. All right. Cricket, it is a good deal. If we cooperate with the DA, then your case can stay in juvenile court.
I ain't gonna be no buster.
Cricket, if you were the driver, then you were not the shooter. Do you want to spend the next 9 years in prison just to impress some of your friends?
Lady, my rep's all I got.
Listen to me, Cricket. The fitness hearing is this afternoon. Now, if you're sentenced as an adult, that's it. You just bought yourself a ticket to Frontier, and I'll tell you that's a far cry from a few years in a juvenile camp in Camarillo.
I'll take my chances.
Your chances would be a lot better in juvenile court.
Well, then keep me in juvenile court. I'm only 16 years old.
Well, you've been charged with a gang-related drive-by. Your rap sheet is healthy, and your probation officer is not your greatest fan. Now, in California, the chances of you being tried as a juvenile are very slim unless you cooperate with the DA and take the deal.
Man, that bitch ain't even dead.
Fine. Mrs. Jackson, how do you feel about Mary being in a gang?
Well, I'm not happy about it, if that's what you mean. I don't enjoy going to bed every night with my heart pounding in my throat, waiting for the phone to ring. Gangs are no good, that's for sure. But I do think the system is really out to get these kids, especially the black ones.
Your Honor, take it easy, Ms. Vargas. We're only at the hearing stage. Going to give counsel for the defense a little leeway here. Go ahead, Mrs. Jackson.
One thing people don't consider is if underneath it all, a kid is really a good kid.
As her grandmother, do you think Mary's a good kid?
Your Honor.
Is Mary a good kid, Mrs. Jackson?
Yes, she is. But where we live, that's not an easy thing to be. There's so much hatred and violence. A person can't always overcome that alone.
Is it your impression that Mary wants to change her life?
Miss O'Neill, don't you think we all would like to change our life? In my mind, Mary's still the little girl who brings me tea when I'm sick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But she is not a criminal. She is not a criminal.
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. That's all, Your Honor.
Ms. Vargas?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You may step down, Mrs. Jackson.
Your Honor, I would like to be heard. There's no denying the seriousness of the allegations against Mary Jackson. However, I believe it is still unclear as to what her role in this crime might have been. Now, this hearing is the most important proceeding that Mary will ever face, since the consequences of trying her as an adult are profound. Don't you think that we should err on the side of caution here?
I think prudence and caution are proper bywords in any case, Ms. O'Neill. For me, it's a job description. All right, I think I've heard enough now to make a determination in this case. The probation report clearly recommends that Mary Jackson be found unfit to be tried as a juvenile. Because of the gravity of her alleged offense, and because of her previous criminal record, I strongly question the effectiveness of treatment within the juvenile justice system. Therefore, I am remanding her case to Superior Court.
This is your fault. Thanks for nothing.
That's where he was, right there.
Mrs. Fitchman, I hate to press you, but I'll have to ask you to be more specific.
Would you wipe that smirky look off your face, young man? There are men in that alley every night, but this is the first time one of them tried to climb in my window. So I called 911, And luckily, he was there long enough so the police actually caught him. And then we found out he was a judge. I mean, no wonder the courts are in such a mess.
Exactly. What was the man doing outside your window?
You know what he was doing. I could see it as plain as the nose on your face. And then he was planning to climb in my window and do it with me.
So anyway, Nina called me back and she said there's this guy in Brad's frat who really wants to meet me.
How does he know he wants to meet you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess he likes the sound of me.
Yeah, I'll bet. How old is this guy anyway?
I don't know. I forgot to ask. Probably Brad's age, and he's 19.
So is he your date?
Well, I mean, it's not even a real date. I probably won't even meet him until the party. But Nina said Brad says he's really cool.
Well, that's reassuring. There's not going to be any alcohol served at this thing, is there?
No, probably not.
No drinking until you're 21.
Okay.
So how are you supposed to get home from this thing?
I don't know. I guess Nina. Or maybe Rob. That's his name. Rob Eastwood.
This guy's not on the football team or anything like that, is he?
No, I don't think so. Nina says he's an econ major, and he's from Mission Viejo. Oh, and he's supposed to be really good looking.
So why can't he get his own date?
Rosie!
Are you sure your father let you go to these things?
Yes, Rosie, I am 16 years old. My father does not treat me like a child. Jeez.
Look, Kimmer, boys this age.
Rosie, you really don't need to give me that lecture, okay? It's a party. I mean, some chips, some dip, maybe some dancing. I'll probably be home before midnight.
Not probably. Midnight.
Okay. Warden.
Sounds fair to me, Duncan. Yeah, just let me run it by Judge Binghamton. I don't know about the community service, but I'll do my best to sell him. Okay, I'll call you later.
Rosie, you really think Binghamton's gonna cop a plea?
Who knows? Man's full of surprises, isn't he?
Well, you know what they say about him, don't you?
What?
That he doesn't wear anything under his robe.
Oh, come on, Binghamton.
He's naked?
Buck naked.
Quel scandal.
Why would he do that?
Who knows?
Who cares? I sure as hell wouldn't ask him.
Rosie, should I be jealous that Judge Binghamton asked you to represent him?
Valerie, as far as I'm concerned, you can have this case and the horse it rode in on.
Oh, think of the possibilities, Rosie. You win this case and you're Binghamton's best friend.
Lose it and he'll persecute you the rest of your professional life.
Thanks for the pep talk, guys.
Our pleasure.
Listen, Valerie, you're closer to the college experience than I am. Do college guys expect anything from a girl on the first date these days?
Yo, robbing the cradle, Rosie.
Kim's got a blind date with a frat boy.
Uh-oh.
That's what I thought.
Oh, wait a minute. Rosie, do you trust Kim?
Yes, it's him I'm worried about.
Well, look, she's a smart kid. She'll call you if there's a problem.
Hope so.
Hey.
Hey.
I got some visitors for you. Dora, this is Rosie O'Neill, Crickett's defense lawyer.
How do you do?
Zora's the lady who lives next door to Cricket, their grandmother.
Well, what can I do for you, Zora?
Well, I didn't know who to talk to about this, but Mr. Kovacs said you might be the right person. Miss O'Neill, when Cricket got in the car that night with their homies, they were just going to scare that Mexican lady, drive by real fast, make a lot of noise. Now, I ain't saying that it's right, but that's the way it was. But Cricket didn't know there was a gun in the car.
Well, it's an interesting theory, Zora, but I don't know how I'd be able to prove it.
Miss O'Neill, there aren't but two things in life that scare me. My mama and Jesus Christ. I've tried to teach my daughter the same thing. Ina. This is my daughter. She was in the car that night with Cricket.
Cricket, you may have been in the car, but you weren't driving it. You didn't even know it was going down. Now, that being the case, I might be able to get you off.
Look, it don't do me no good to rat out my homies. I'll do time if I have to. I'm not afraid to take the fall.
Well, that's very generous of you, Cricket, but not very smart.
Look, what you don't get, Miss Lawyer, is that it don't do me no good to snitch. If I don't talk, all my homies be like, damn, she's the killingest.
Or the stupidest. You had no intention of harming Carmen Becerra. You didn't even know there was a gun in the car. Somebody snitched you out, Cricket. One of your very own homegirls said that it wasn't even your idea to drive by the market and shoot out the windows.
You lying.
Hey, I guess you're not as down with your set as you think you are.
Yo, that Mexican lady was looking for trouble, and she got it. I don't care who knows. I'll tell it to the judge. I'm gonna plead guilty. I'll say I did the whole thing.
You just don't get it, do you? As far as the state of California is concerned, you are an adult now. You know how long you can get for attempted murder? 9 years. That's a decade of your life. A decade of no rights, no choices, living in a rat hole where if you want to go to the bathroom, you have to ask permission.
Who cares?
I do. So should you.
Well, I don't. And if I ain't down with my gang, ain't nothing out there to live for anyway.
Hey, if she wants to go to prison, you can't stop her.
So I'm wasting my time?
Well, do you believe her life has value?
Of course I do. I know it sounds like a cliche, but underneath that tough exterior, she is still a kid. So it's making me crazy. She's running the show. I have a triable case, and she wants to be some big neighborhood hero with prison tattoos.
The problem is you've got clients at opposite ends of the system. Binghamton trusts the system because he knows how to use it. As far as Cricket's concerned, the system's out to stick it to her one way or the other. She's just picking which way.
I just need to get her trust, Hank.
Why should she trust you? We're all a part of a society that's told her in a million ways just how worthless we think she is. We don't care that she doesn't get an education. We don't provide the community programs that give her an alternative to being in a gang. And we model for her hostility and distrust for anyone whose skin or culture or religion is different from our own. I mean, why should she trust any of us?
Hey, that is a good boy, Jim. Come on, Princess. I'll make nice for Daddy. I want to find out who leaked that story to the media. My clerk called me the first thing this morning to read it to me. Press in this town has always had it in for me. I said, go ahead. Let them laugh on their cups now. I am keeping score.
Right, Your Honor. Look, the DA's office is willing to drop the attempted residential burglary, the loitering, and the possession charges, and he's recommended to the bar that they not take any action against you. Now, I think we're doing pretty well.
That's a good girl, Princess. That is Daddy's little wootsy here, holds.
Your Honor, look, if you would just consider Duncan's offer.
I have heard the DA's offer, Miss O'Neill, and I find it very amusing. However, I am not laughing. Any plea other than not guilty has the appearance of culpability on my part.
But all you do is pay a fine, a few hours of community service, and hopefully that's it.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you very much for that clarification, Miss O'Neill. Unfortunately, I am not one of your ignoramus clients. I have been a judge for 24 years. I think I know the law.
Of course you do, Your Honor.
My reputation is on the line here. I am not going to become the Fatty Arbuckle of the county court system.
Well, you realize, of course, that if we take this to trial and lose, it's going to be a lot more damaging to your reputation.
But you are not going to lose, Miss O'Neill. That is why I wanted you. I have seen you convince more juries of some deadbeat's innocence with more half-baked, dim-witted evidence than any other lawyer who's come before me. No, you do what you do best, Miss O'Neill, and sleep easy at night knowing that for once you have a client who is innocent.
I presume all my clients are innocent, Judge Binghamton. I would hope you do the same.
Whatever makes you happy, Miss O'Neill.
Come on, Duncan. The man was watering his horse, so to speak. That's it.
That's not what my witness says.
Well, what was she doing staring out the window in the first place?
You don't look out your windows?
Why don't you just give the guy some slack? He's an old man with prostate trouble, for heaven's sakes. I mean, do you really want to see him disrobed?
Rosie, if he hadn't been disrobed in the first place, he wouldn't be in this trouble. Besides, he's an officer of the court. He should be held to a higher standard. And if you want to know the truth, I'd drop this case in a minute if I could. But that old lady has hit a nerve in the community, and the press is on Morton's butt for conviction. You think I want to get on Binghamton's bad side? Oh, I had wake at night over this case. Sorry, Rosie. No can do.
I tried.
You, counselor.
What?
I've been shooting blanks with Mrs. Fitchman.
I beg your pardon?
The old gal who caught Happy Horace with his pants down. She's got excellent vision and is president of her neighborhood watch group. I couldn't shake her story that it was the judge. Actually, it was really sticking in her craw. She's already filed a complaint with the Judges Association.
How does Mrs. Fitchman know that he was a judge?
I guess she read in the paper.
But it was only in this morning's paper. When did you talk to her?
A couple of days ago. That's what for you, counselor. It's about time.
Boy, I am having one of those weeks.
What weeks?
Nothing feels right. My clothes are too tight. I've got a pounding headache. I feel every minute of my 45 years, and none of my clients are listening to me. For example, I have this girl who's a gang
Can you borrow
member.
that black and red purse of yours for tomorrow night?
And that's another thing, Kim. I'm going to call your father about that party. I just want to talk to him, and then I'll feel better.
Rosie, I told you he lets me go to these things. Why are you being like this?
Kim, I just want to discuss it with him. If he says it's okay, fine.
It is okay with him. God, I can't believe you don't trust me.
It has nothing to do with trusting you, but I am responsible for you Monday through Friday.
So what, I can't go out on dates now? Is that it?
No, nobody is saying anything to you about not going out, but I feel a little uneasy about this frat party. I mean, you don't even know these boys.
Nina does.
And you're also only 16.
So what do you want me to be, Rosie? The biggest misfit in the world? Look, I don't go out on dates as it is. This is the one time that I'm asking you to let me do something, and you're acting like I just asked you for birth control or something.
Birth control? Where did that come from?
And that's another thing. Why is that such a big deal? Anyway, look, I am 16 years old, okay? Most of my friends are doing it. Nina's been doing it since the 9th grade.
Wait a minute. I'm a little confused. Are you asking me for birth control?
And what if I were? I mean, you'd have a total cow, right? You don't know what it's like, Rosie, okay? I mean, everybody's always talking about it and saying, you're not still a virgin, are you? I think I should just go out and do it and get it over with.
Wait a minute. Do it and get it over with? Look, is this or is this not a conversation about contraception? Only because if it is, I just want to sit down.
No, it's not. It's just, you're treating me like an infant. I mean, Nina's mom doesn't give her the 3rd degree every time she wants to go somewhere. I wish you would trust me.
I do trust you. It's just... Oh, never mind.
Thank you. Can I borrow your purse?
Sure. Can I have a cookie?
Yeah, sure. Oh, I'm sorry, I finished them all. It's okay. Hey, Rosie, you know what? You were a lot nicer when you were dating regularly.
When did your daughter start to have sex?
Who said she's having sex?
Well, is she?
She is. I don't want to know about it.
But isn't that part of your responsibility as a parent?
No, I leave all that stuff to Harriet. She tells me what she thinks I can handle.
Think she was doing it when she was 16?
I told you, Rosie, I don't want to talk about it. I mean it. Okay, what's going on with Kim?
Nothing. Said that she asked me about birth control the other night, and I don't think I handled it very well.
Who does?
What am I supposed to say to her? I mean, what kind of limits do I put on her?
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
I feel comfortable telling her to stay in her room until she's 30.
Okay, how does she feel about it? Does she have a steady boyfriend?
No. But I think she worries about it.
Well, then what makes you so sure that she's ready to sleep with someone?
I'm not sure. That's the problem. Did you get it? Kovac.
What do I look like, Federal Express?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Oh, I saw what he was doing. He was there a good 15 minutes.
And during that time, you saw him expose himself?
Yes, you couldn't miss it. I mean, this sort of thing happens all the time out there, but never this bad. He was standing there right in front of my window.
If the problem is that severe, Mrs. Fitchman, why haven't you moved?
Young man, I'm on a fixed income. You try finding an apartment for $400 a month in this city. I've lived in that building for 20 years, and it's a very nice place to live until that girly club moved in next door. Now I can't even look out my own window.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitchman. I have no more questions.
Ms. O'Neill?
Mrs. Fitchman, it must be terrible not being able to look out your own window.
It is.
You've testified that you've seen men exposing themselves in the alley underneath your window on more than one occasion. Could you give us a rough estimate of how often this kind of thing occurs?
Well, maybe 3 times a week.
And how long has it been going on?
5 years, ever since that Nucci place opened up.
It's terrible. So 3 times a week for the past 5 years, you've been subjected to this behavior.
That's right.
Mrs. Fitchman, in all those years, how many times have you called the police to report a crime in progress?
Well, I'm not sure.
5 times? 10, 15 times?
I can't recall.
Well, Mrs. Fitchman, according to the police department records, you've only called 911 once. That one time being the 2nd of this month, when you reported seeing Judge Binghamton in the alley.
No, that can't be right. I'm sure I've called before.
Objection.
Your Honor, I'm establishing a foundation.
Get to the point, Miss O'Neill.
Thank you. Mrs. Fitchman, have you ever served on a jury?
No.
Have you ever observed a court trial?
Your Honor.
Do you remember sitting through a trial last year?
But I don't know what that has to do with this.
Whose trial was it, Mrs. Fitchman?
My nephew Dwight's, but he never knew those stereos were stolen.
What kind of sentence did he receive?
He was sent away for a year. And his wife, Debbie, she had just had a baby. It almost broke her heart.
The judge in that case wasn't very sympathetic, was he?
No, he was not.
Who was the judge? It was Judge Horace Binghamton, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitchman. No further questions, Your Honor.
It's going to be at least another hour, hour and a half. We'll get home like that. Well, they haven't found out.
Patrick Ginty, please. He's not? Already? But it's only 3 o'clock. For the whole weekend? Well, would you tell him if he calls in from Aspen to call Rosie? O'Neill. Yes, he knows me. All too well.
How we do with Binghamton?
Well, let's just say that Judge Binghamton will be back on the bench first thing Monday morning, with or without his underwear. I wish I were doing that well with my other cases.
Ms. O'Neill, how does your client wish to plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
No.
One moment, please, Your Honor. Cricket, all you have to do is tell the judge the truth, that you didn't mean to hurt Mrs. Becerra.
Yeah? And how do you think that's going to go over in my neighborhood?
Well, when you go back to your neighborhood after 9 years of prison, do you think anybody's going to call you a hero? Or even remember what you did?
Miss O'Neill, how does your client wish to plead?
Guilty.
No.
Hey!
Hey.
Oh, do you look fat in this?
No. Kim, I don't want you going out tonight.
What? What do you mean? It's Thursday. I'm going to the party.
I'm sorry, Kim. I've had enough of teenagers making so-called adult decisions, so I've decided that you're not going.
Fine. I'll call Dad and he'll let me go.
It's not the way it works, Kim, and you know it. As long as you're living in my house, this is not a democracy, and you will do as I say.
Rosie, Nina will be here any minute.
Then I suggest you call her and tell her not to come. I am not comfortable with you going to a frat party with some boy you don't even know.
Rosie!
I'm sorry, Kimmer. I know you're disappointed, and I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to come to a decision about all this. But I am the adult, and I have to do what I think is right.
I can't believe this. This is the bitchiest thing you have ever done to me, Rosie, and I hate you!
Kim? Kim, you in there?
Go away.
Kim, I want you to understand why I did what I did.
Why don't you just lock me up in my room every night, Rosie?
Kimmer, I'm not trying to ruin your life, okay? I know it seems that way, but I'm not. I'm trying to help you.
What, become the biggest geek in my entire high school?
No. I'm trying to help you become an adult. Part of being an adult woman is being aware of the consequences of your actions. And I didn't like you being put in such a vulnerable position. Look, Kimmer, if you're considering making love with someone, I want it to be someone that you really care about. Not some frat boy that you do it with just to get it over with.
Rosie, I wasn't gonna do it with him. I didn't even know him.
Well, I didn't want you to feel pressured.
I can handle it.
Kim, sometimes even I can't handle it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, look, do you mind if I come in there? Kim, sex can be wonderful, and it can be beautiful. sometimes it can be scary. Especially if you're not ready to deal with its consequences.
I know, you can get pregnant, you can get AIDS.
And you can get your heart broken. And I love you too much to see those things happen to you.
Rosie, why did you and Peter break up?
He was married.
Oh, Rosie.
It's okay. But it hurts. See, Kimmer, sometimes even a 45-year-old woman isn't always ready to deal with the consequences.